Hello and welcome back to the channel, but just in case you're new here, my name is Mike, and in this video I'm going to be doing all of your questions that you all submitted for the 700 subscriber celebration. This is me just saying thank you. It's just a little tiny microscopic way of me saying thank you to each and every one of you and how much it seriously means to me for an everyday just Joe Schmo horror fan to be surrounded by such a great community and be able to discuss my passions with each and every one of you. So this is my way of saying thank you for 700. Real soon here we're going to start our road to 1K, and it's not going to be, oh, I'm just going to say, road to 1K at the end of every video. I'm thinking in my mind a way to make it cool, a way to make it fun and fresh, and that's coming soon, along with a slew of other really, really cool stuff. But again, thank you all so much from the bottom of my heart for 700 subscribers. Without further ado, let's slice right into your questions. No particular order here. The first question comes from Logan C., longtime supporter of the channel, really, really great friend of the community, and I'm really happy to see his Deadpool little picture pop up because I know who that is instantly. And he asked, hell yeah, man, congrats. Thank you, man. I really appreciate that, first and foremost. My question isn't really horror related, but what kind of music are you into? I love a lot of rock and heavy metal. Some of my faves are Alice in Chains, Iron Maiden, Opeth, and many more. Glad you are feeling better, and I hope you get back to full strength soon. Well, man, thank you, first of all, so very much for the love and support that you've always given me for the 700 subs and to be getting back to full strength. Man, I'm almost there. My back is getting better every single day. I'm able to do a lot more than I was even last week and the week before, and so on and so forth. Live streams are still a bit of an issue, but I'm slowly working toward getting back to that, so I promise you it's coming soon. As far as what music I'm into, man, I'm not into any of the classics in the classic rock or classic hip-hop or classic heavy metal. And that's pretty much because my parents never raised myself and my brother on music much. Not saying that's a bad thing, but the only music we were ever exposed to as kids was just the radio and kind of what was ever on in the background. My parents were always talking or whatever. So we never really got into music at a young age. I didn't get into music until right before I started high school. And before I got into high school, I was trying to discover what my taste in music was. So naturally, what I knew, like almost my whole life, was horror movies. So that's what I had. I had Bride of Chucky soundtrack. I had Freddy vs. Jason soundtrack. I had the Blade soundtrack. So my jam for a good year or 2 years was just whatever was on that. Mystical was on there. I think Guar was on there. Rob Zombie. Il Nino, just whatever. Hey, this is the song I know in the horror movie that I love, so there you go. But right when I got into high school, I discovered Insane Clown Posse, which is underground rap, and that was and is like my heart and soul of music, because their music just spoke to me, and it helped me get through the roughest time in my life where I felt like I was struggling with depression and I was in a really bad place, and it really helped get me out of that and push me through that. And the music just spoke to me, and it was so relatable. And to this day now, I'm covered in Insane Clown Posse tattoos because of how much their music has meant to me. I just love Insane Clown Posse and everything within their bubble, the Axe Murder Boys and Anybody Killa, stuff like that. So that was really like the stuff I listened to all through high school for years and years. That's all I would listen to, was that underground rap ICP stuff, which I still love and listen to this day. I religiously follow them. But I also have another side to me where I love country music. Now, not all country music. Don't turn on the radio and I'm going to be jamming out to all these random ones. But in particular, one of my favorites was Big and Rich. I remember Big and Rich came to me, again, at the right time in my life where their music really spoke to me about Jesus and being a better person and, just stuff like that. I really, really found myself connecting with that. Again, I felt like the music was just so gripping, and I really fell in love with Big and Rich. They're a country music duo, but they're also solo artists as well. Big Kenny in particular, his music touched me so much. I actually went and I got a tribute tattoo, if y'all can see that, for Big Kenny. because he preaches love everybody, and you know what I mean, more like not hippie stuff, but he's everything from rock, bluegrass, hippie, country, whatever. But the whole concept of love everybody is something that I really internalized with. So I love Big and Rich, and also my favorite singer and songwriter of all time that I listen to every single day ad nauseum is a country singer named Matt Kennon. He's not super well known. I mean, it's not that he's not playing in like bars, stringing a guitar for tips, but he's not like a superstar like a Tim McGraw or something. He's a lesser known, but he's my favorite singer and songwriter, and his music speaks to me like music hasn't spoken to me since ICP. Back in the day when I was a teenager, young teenager. He's my favorite singer and songwriter. There's not a song he has put out that I do not know the words to, I do not sing to, I do not relate to. It touches my soul. If you guys are familiar with my Predator ranking video, and I did a tribute for my dog that we lost, Thora, the song that's playing is actually Matt Kennon. It's a song called I Miss You Bad. And that's the song that I picked when I did the little tribute for my baby that we lost. And so, yeah, man, Matt Kennon was my favorite singer and songwriter. Insane Clown Posse, a little bit of country, a little bit of underground murder rap. It's definitely two opposite sides of the world, but that's definitely the music I'm into, and that's the stuff I internalize. So thank you for your question, man. The next question comes from longtime friend, longtime supporter, and content creator of his own, James from Wanna Play. There's a link down in the description below for his channel, and this is what he asked. Huge congrats, bro. I'll ask you the same questions you asked me in my last Q&A. First of all, man, thank you so much. I really, really appreciate it. I would not be at 700 if it wasn't for you, and I know that. I know that for a fact. If you could have any versus horror movie, what would it be? And what's a horror movie you think deserves a sequel but never got one? Two good questions, if I do say so myself. A versus movie that we never got that I think we should have. Realistically, I would love a sequel to Freddy vs. Jason, and then you can, maybe, well, no, I wouldn't have did that. They talked about doing Halloween, but ultimately, if I had all the power, I would want to see Chucky versus Leprechaun. I think those two would be an awesome dynamic, and people say it's too easy. Like Don Mancini himself, well, that's too easy because they're both short, blah, blah, blah. But I think it's more than that. I think the wits, the character of those two, the dialogue back and forth would be almost as good as the fighting itself. Chucky versus Leprechaun has been something that I have fantasized about for, like, literally my whole life. Like, seeing those two actually going at it, I just think would be absolutely awesome, and it will never happen. I'm pretty safe to say it will never happen, but God, do I wish it would. And your next question you asked me was a horror movie that deserves a sequel but never got one. Now, I'm going to go with a very, very lesser known horror movie that not a lot of people know about, but I know about it and I love it, and I also think that it deserves a sequel like a motherfucker, and that's ATM. ATM is a great horror thriller where these three friends, they're going home and they stop at an ATM and they start getting stalked by this killer, and it's a survival story of them trying to get out of this ATM alive. It's a phenomenal movie. It's so criminally, it's not even underrated, it's just not known, but it's such a great, great, great movie. I know the tropes of horror movies is people do stupid things and make stupid decisions. Every decision they made was logical, it was smart, it was a really, really great thriller horror movie, and it ends in a way where it sets up a sequel in such a dope, dope, dope fashion, and we never actually got one because ATM was so little known and it's just not a huge success at all that we're probably never going to get a sequel. But I'm telling you, if you're watching this and you have not seen ATM, please do me a favor, watch ATM and let me know what you thought of it. It's one of my favorite movies. I absolutely love this movie, and I could talk endlessly about it. So, good questions, man. I appreciate you as always. The next question is from another horror content creator, and this is from the Nightwatch Zone. Now, if you guys don't know his channel, dude, seriously, there's a link down in the description below. He has an amazing channel. He does awesome live streams, and he's just got the tone and the demeanor and the voice for radio and broadcasting and live streaming. Like, he's got it. Like, the best that I've ever seen. Seriously, go check out his channel. But he asked, Congrats on this awesome milestone, man. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that, man. Seriously, seriously, thank you. Hope your back continues to heal. He said he's up for a live or a pre-recorded video, and his question is, if you could direct a horror franchise film, which would it be, and how would you approach the movie? Hey, man, this is a hell of a question, man. I had to seriously think about this. Like, I had to think about this shit driving at work. Like, okay, what would I do? Everybody has a pitch for a new Friday the 13th movie, or a new Nightmare on Elm Street movie, or a new Chucky movie. Everybody talks about those. What I would tackle? I want another Leprechaun movie. And if I was in charge, I would make it something we've never seen before with the Leprechaun franchise. Now, I know how many things have been pitched over the years for Leprechaun movies, everything from Pirates to the Ireland Home Story, all the way to, Leprechaun versus Candyman, to Mark Jones's original Vampircon, all of that stuff. What I personally would do, and I have said this since Leprechaun Returns came out, I am not a huge fan of Leprechaun Returns. I felt Lyndon Porco portrayed the Leprechaun decent at best. I thought it was decent. It was okay. He wasn't horrible, but it wasn't exactly like... It was all right, but I liked it enough to where I think he has earned a spot in horror and playing the Leprechaun as well. Now, with that being said, I want Warwick Davis back, and the rumor mill is churning right now that Lionsgate is open. They are taking scripts right now for a new Leprechaun film, and the word is that they want to bring Warwick Davis back. So if that being the case, I always thought what would be cool, what would be cooler is if we had two Leprechauns in one movie. Lyndon Porco, we would have to change his look and stuff, make him not, ignore Leprechaun Returns. He's not that Leprechaun in continuity. Bring back Warwick Davis. He is the Leprechaun we know and love in continuity. Have two Leprechauns in the same movie. Because, as we know, in Back to the Hood, you get that little cartoon opening animation that says there was multiple leprechauns, and there was one that was, more evil and greedy than them all, and he killed them all and took the gold. What if Lyndon Porco's leprechaun is one of those surviving leprechauns, and he comes for the other he comes for Warwick, and they end up fighting. We get some awesome leprechaun magic fights. That'd be super cool. And then if you want them to team up in the end or whatever, that's whatever. But ultimately, I think they should just rip each other apart, have some good character building in it as well, make the characters worth a damn. But Lyndon Porco versus Warwick Davis, Leprechaun versus Leprechaun, it's already in the lore. That's how I would do it. As far as certain scenes or stuff like that, I would have to really dive in deeper and think about that. But hey, Night Zone, man, if you Nightwatch, excuse me. If you or anybody else want to elaborate more on that concept, let's do a live or something. We'll really go in depth with having like a dual Leprechaun movie. But that's what I would do, and that's how I would approach it, man. Great question. Thank you so much. The next question is from a beloved member of the community, a person that I call a friend, and that's Danielle. You guys know her. You probably love her, right? So she says, awesome! Exclamation point. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. I have a couple questions. Try not to do too many. Video pre-recorded Q&A. Awesome. That's what we ended up settling with. Number one, what was the horror movie you watched that got you into horror? Number two, what is your favorite item in your horror collection? 3, who is your favorite final girl? And 4, would you consider doing reaction videos to horror-themed videos, like 360 VR horror or to goofy horror parody videos as content idea in the future? So number 1, what is the movie that I watched that got me into horror? That is going to be, oh, you can see it right down there. It's going to be Trilogy of Terror. Trilogy of Terror was the first horror movie that I ever watched. Because, y'all, I've been watching horror for so long that I actually had to ask my parents, my mom in particular, like, what was the first horror movie I ever watched? And to her best knowledge and to my best knowledge, it's Trilogy of Terror with Karen Black. It was like it had like 3, I think it was like 3 movies in one, but the end was this little Zuni killer doll that would charge at you and make a crazy noise. And that's what got me into horror. I loved it. I was fascinated with the doll and the killer, and I was like, this is so cool. And that's what sparked my love and my absolute fascination with horror. I have so many memories from Child's Play to Nightmare on Elm Street to Friday the 13th to Puppet Master to random movies, The Birds and Bleeders and all this stuff. The burning. I just sitting cross-legged on the floor, just watching horror movies, eating popcorn, hitting up those blockbusters. That's where it all started for me. Trilogy of Terror, and I do have a replica doll right down there. And my good buddy Nightmare Corner actually has a video. He has one of these as well. They're numbered, they're rare, and they're super badass. Speaking of the Nightmare Corner, link down in the description below for his channel. Second question you asked me was, what is your favorite item in my horror collection? Now, see, that is a tough one because there are so many things that surround me in this room that I just love to death. From my life-size Freddy to the Chucky, Tiffany, and Glenn behind me. Screen use items, and there's more sentimental items. Like my daughter made me a Jason mask a few years ago, so I have that. Something like I was gonna try and get it. The Nightmare on Elm Street notebook that you actually had given to me. It's right here on the shelf next to me. You'll see it in my horror room tour coming up. So there's sentimental things and stuff, but ultimately my holy grail right now is something I just recently got, and that's this bad boy right here. It's a screen-used, worn wardrobe from Lawrence Fishburne in Hannibal TV series. This is from the season 2 finale, my favorite episode of the whole show. I just finished paying this off, and I'm looking at it right now off screen. It's beautiful, and it's my holy grail, and I cannot believe I own screen use item from Lawrence Fishburne, from my favorite TV show of all time. It's probably going to be the Lawrence Fishburne suit for sure. And you also asked me, who is my favorite final girl? You know what? That's a tough one. I mean, I love Nancy because I love Nightmare on Elm Street. I love, like, Kyle, because I love Child's Play. I think Ellen Ripley is the most badass final girl there is. I love Mary Beth. Man, honestly, oh man. I'm gonna say Kyle from Child's Play 2, the Child's Play series. She's actually the only final girl I have met in person and have autographed for, so I'm gonna go with her. And because I'm a diehard Child's Play fan, I'm gonna go with Kyle from Child's Play 2. You also asked me would I consider doing reaction videos to horror themed videos like 360 VR horror and goofy horror parodies. Of course I would. Yeah. Absolutely I would. I think it's a great idea. It's something I'm going to put in my little notebook over here right off to my left for video ideas in the future. I definitely want to expand the channel and see what else I can do with it. And typically on YouTube, I'm much more reserved. I'm much more kind of to myself. In the real world, if you will, I am pretty goofy. I'm a pretty zany guy. So to see that side of me, I think would be a lot of fun. I'm not so professional and kind of sit up straight and talk and stuff. I think that'd be a lot of fun. So I'm gonna put it in my book as soon as I cut this camera. So Danielle, thank you for everything, and thank you for your question. The next question comes from another good friend of mine, Beast. She is absolutely cool. She has been a good friend to me, and she has been there for me, and I appreciate the hell out of her, and I appreciate the hell out of this question. And she asked, congrats, man. Excuse me. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. I vote for a video instead of a live because she sleeps during the day and doesn't want to miss it. Yep, we ended up going pre-record. Question number 1. What's a remake that you dislike or hate the most out of the remakes that I have watched? Also, what's your favorite horror killer and survivor actors? I'm glad you're feeling better. Yeah, first of all, I'm feeling better too. I'm getting there day by day. It's getting better. So thank you so much for that. My least favorite remake is probably going to be Black Christmas. It was absolutely atrocious. Don't ever watch it. Please God, do not ever watch it. For the love of everything holy, do not watch it. I would say Nightmare on Elm Street, but I never actually watched it because I just don't respect that movie and never will. Like, I just have no ambition to watch it, no desire to ever watch it. So I have to at least pick a movie that I've seen. I'm going to say Black Christmas because it's absolutely atrocious and it should never have been made. Question 2. You asked me, I'm a little confused. It says, what's your favorite horror killer and survivor actors? So I mean, I assume you're talking actors and actresses that are portrayed in horror. Oh man, I got a lot of them. Everybody from Kane Hodder, Robert Englund, Jennifer Tilly, Brad Dourif, Christina Leese, Shawnee Smith, Alex Vincent, Mads Mikkelsen, Hugh Dancy, Lawrence Fishburne. I mean, literally, I could go on all day, Beast. Everybody in the Hannibal TV show, everybody, Tim Curry, everybody you see around me, behind me, in all of my autographs, I mean, all of them. My favorite actor of all time is Mads Mikkelsen. Mads Mikkelsen, he's on my bucket list. I hope I get to meet him one day and get an autograph. He is my all-time favorite actor, but Ken Kersinger, again, I love him. So yeah, Mads Mikkelsen, Ken Kersinger, Kane Hodder, Robert Englund, those are some of the bigger ones. Shawnee Smith, Tobin Bell, stuff like that. There's just a ton to name. But hopefully that helps you. But you and I talk all the time, so I appreciate you contributing to the content with your question. The next question is from another person that I call a friend and another content creator. He just started his channel not long ago, and I honestly think he's doing a fucking phenomenal job, you guys. Please, 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 link down in the description below. Go check out Primetime Horror. He's doing an awesome job. He's super knowledgeable. And he asked, I'm super happy you hit 700. You deserve it. Well, thank you, man, so much. I really appreciate that, man. Thank you. And his question is, what is your favorite stage or version of the xenomorph? And what is your favorite funny/comedy movie that, thank you for the great vids, and no matter how long you take a break, we will support you. Okay, first of all, thank you so much for the support, man. I know you've always had my back, no pun intended. You've always supported me through this whole injury, and even before then, man, you've been so cool. Your channel's just booming, and I really appreciate that, man. My favorite stage of the xenomorph, not including video games, so I'm not going to talk about Ravengers and stuff like that. This is tough for me. I love facehuggers. I love the Queen. Oh, man. I love the Queen and I love facehuggers, but I'm going to go with a Pred Alien. I'm going to go, if that counts. Well, yeah, it's a version of a xenomorph. Yeah, I'm going to go with a Pred Alien. You take two of my favorite creatures in all of horror and you mesh them together. Dude, it's a fucking Pred Alien, man. And we've only seen one on screen, and he was super, super badass. Chet, as he's known as. Super fresh. I'm going to go with a Pred Alien, man, for sure. Definitely a Pred Alien. My favorite funny/comedy. So my favorite comedy film. Oh, man, this is a good one. To be honest with you, bro, I don't think I have a favorite comedy movie. Maybe like something like Jingle All the Way. Jingle All the Way, I literally quote almost every single day of my life. Jingle All the Way is absolutely hilarious. So I'm going to go with Jingle All the Way. And as far as TV sitcoms, it's The King of Queens. That shit will have me rolling 10 times over. And if I'm going through something in life, I put that on and it just makes me feel good. It makes me feel better. It's like a comfort zone for me, The King of Queens. And I'm going to say Jingle All the Way because I'm not huge into comedy films. But when I'm thinking in my head what makes me laugh, Jingle All the Way, like I said, I quote it every day, all day, and I love that movie, and it cracks me up every time I watch it. So I'm going to go with Jingle All the Way. Thank you, bro, for your question. All right, next question comes from another longtime supporter. I always see him on my videos and other videos from other content creators in the horror community, if you will. He's always around. He's always dropping awesome questions, and I'm so glad to see him. Chris Jackson, and this is what he asked. Congrats on the subs, brother. Thank you so much, Chris. I really appreciate that, man. Really, really do. I remember watching your toy hunt videos, Chasing Jason. Thank you, man, so much for that, man. It seems like I was really trying to get that over, that Chasing Jason, and I felt like that was so catchy and stuff. Thank you so much, man. I was so geeked when I read your comment that somebody actually said it, and it stuck with someone, so I love that so much. That's so cool. So your question is, how do you fund your collecting hobby? And just do a pre-recorded video. Always talking about just straighten my back. Proud of you, brother. Proud of you, brother. Yeah, hey, man. Thank you so much, man. I'm proud of you, too. I'm proud of each and every one of you. Thank you for being proud of me, man. It really does mean a lot to me. And the fact that y'all were so cool. Like, when I pitched the idea for a live or a pre-record, I thought for sure, my wife said the same thing, oh, everyone's going to want you to go live. But literally almost all of you except like two said do a pre-record because y'all are worried about me and my back, and y'all want me to heal and don't want me to get injured. You know what I mean? So y'all thought about me versus the sake of the content. So I just cannot thank you guys enough for that, man. You guys are so fucking fresh, man. Thank you so much for that, Chris and everybody else. Thank you so much. As far as this was such a great question, man. I don't think I've ever been asked this. This is such a good question. How do I fund my collecting hobby? Well, to be honest with you, prayers and payment plans. I mean, but seriously, I mean, that is true. But in all honesty, my wife and I both have good careers. We both have full-time jobs. We worked our way up in our careers. We've been blessed enough to move up in our careers and make a little bit better money. So definitely, her and I both having full-time jobs is definitely the most way we fund it. Sometimes I put stuff on like a credit card for like a payment plan, like a PayPal credit or something of that nature. But yeah, mostly just saving your money, knowing when to spend, when not to spend, being mindful of what you got in the bank and what you need to save and blah blah blah. That's kind of how we do it, though. I mean, it's really just my wife and I just saving up money. But the other portion to my collection that's a really big portion of it too is not even so much how I fund it, but how I got a lot of this stuff. Honestly, man, it's gifts. It's just networking and having friends in the same that are into the same stuff as you, or having family. A lot of things in this room have come from family and friends. I mean, there's people watching this channel right now. I mean, from James to Luigi to Eric to Danielle, they have all been so generous enough and so kind-hearted enough to gift me things that surround me now. And you will all see it in my horror room tour coming up next month. I'm surrounded by gifts from people like my parents, my brother, my wife, my children, and all of you. You know what I mean? So that's also a big part of it too. Not everything people are, what do you must be rich. No, far from it. Far from it. But I didn't buy every single thing in this room. A lot of it is gifts. But ultimately, how I fund it, that's how. Watch your funds, credit card if you have to, payment plans. I've also been very generous. Speaking of payment plans, to never really pay asking price for a lot of my pieces, like my screen used pieces. I don't think I ever paid asking. I've always been able to talk with them and just say, hey, here's what I can do. I'm a passionate fan. It's going to a good home, and that's kind of how I've been able to get away with it. Never lowball somebody. I've been in prop collecting a long time, and I typically know what things will go for. I'm not an expert or anything, but I got a pretty good grip on what things go for and what they're worth, depending on the piece and the item and blah blah blah, the condition. But yeah, that's pretty much how I fund it, though, man. I mean, between gifts and stuff and just knowing what to spend, when to spend. My wife and I both work full time. We've been blessed with great careers, and that's really how I do it, man. Great question, man. I really appreciate answering that one, man. I'll see you around. This next question comes from X Ghostface. Congrats. Well, thank you, Ghostface. I really appreciate that, especially coming from you, my man. His question is, what's your favorite horror movie and least? Okay. I answered this one before, so I'll keep it short and sweet. My favorite horror movie is not because of the quality of the film, not that it's bad, it's Freddy vs. Jason. To see two of my all-time favorite slashers come together on the screen together, never thought it was going to happen. It literally is a movie I would watch on repeat when it came out. I'm telling you, on repeat. I seriously think I could quote that whole movie, like, not only word for word, but sound for sound. Every twig crack. You could play a 5-second snippet of that movie of just like a and I guarantee I can tell you what scene it's from. Freddy vs. Jason just I mean, as you can tell, a lot of people have asked me about this too, like what this is. I need to get it another pass done on it, but if you guys remember this right here, this promotional shot, that's what this is. You can actually see Freddy's thumb here, and then his claws that reach up kind of toward my elbow. It's Freddy's claws holding Jason's mask in the fire. That's what this tattoo on my forearm is. Like I said, some of the color is starting to fade a little bit, as you can see down there. I need to get another pass on it. It's been a few years. But that's what that tattoo is. It's Freddy's claw holding Jason's mask. So clearly Freddy vs. Jason means a lot to me for me to tattoo it on my forearm like that. Also, my least favorite horror movie... there's a lot of horror movies I just don't like, but I'm off the top of my head, I'm gonna go with Jigsaw, because I'm an enormous Saw fan. It is top top 3 or top 5 favorite franchises of all time for me. I'm going to get a Saw tattoo at some point. It's just a matter of time. I got a couple different ideas of what I want to do. And when I saw Jigsaw, it was so disappointing and felt like such a money grab and so contradictory to the story, and I hated it, and it broke my heart, and I never recovered from it. So for breaking my heart, Jigsaw, I deem you my least favorite horror movie. Fuck you, Jigsaw. You broke my heart, and I will never forgive you for that. Although you followed up with Spiral, which I loved. So, hey man, great questions, Ghostface. I really appreciate it, bro. All right, and this question comes from another longtime supporter and really, really, really big part of the community that I always see on my channels, and I always love seeing them come around, and that is from Carrie Benjamin Portway, and he asked, I'm wondering which, if any, horror comedies you like. They can really run the gamut, but there are some good ones, like Shaun of the Dead. Yeah, man, absolutely. Shaun of the Dead, in particular, is pretty funny. I'll never forget seeing the commercial for it when they're doing the and they look at the thing and the zombie goes, whoa. You know, I'll never forget that trailer. That's what sold me on seeing that movie. So that's definitely a fun one. There's a movie called Smothered. I believe it's called Smothered, which it's really funny, and it's a lot of fun. It has Kane Hodder in it, Bill Moseley. Oh my god, I can't remember, but it's other like horror icons, and they kind of play themselves, but they're being stalked by a real killer. It's actually a lot of fun. I'll put the picture up here. I'm sure it already is. Yeah, so that one I really, really liked, and I really, really enjoyed. But there's other ones too that are considered horror comedies. I mean, you can go as far as saying Leprechaun or Tremors, or even something like Gremlins. You know, those are all somewhat in the realm of horror comedies as well. Which obviously are some of my favorite franchises and favorite things in the whole world, such as Tremors and Leprechaun and Gremlins. But yeah, in particular, horror comedies. Black Friday was okay with Bruce Campbell and the zombies that kind of take over the store, and they got to protect the store on, like, I think it was Christmas Day or something. That one was alright. But speaking of Bruce Campbell, I mean, Evil Dead is a great... Well, the first one, not so much, but the second one... Army of Darkness and the TV show, that's horror comedy at its absolute best. I don't think anyone has ever done horror and comedy and meshed it as well as Evil Dead has. So it'd probably be my first one, but Shaun of the Dead's a good one too. So definitely those, man. There's probably more, but definitely those are my ones, man. Thank you so much for the question. And last, but certainly not least, it's just how they showed up on my screen, is from Horror Movie Kid Reviews. What is your favorite horror movie and remake of a horror movie? So, this one I answered for the third time now. Freddy vs. Jason. Freddy vs. Jason is my favorite horror movie. Again, not because of how it's made or anything. The movie certainly has flaws, and there's other horror movies that I would die for, like Gremlins, or the Child's Play franchise, or the Friday the 13th movies. You know, there is other horror movies that I absolutely love and adore. So picking a favorite for me is so hard. It's one reason why I don't do rankings a lot, because for me to put one thing over the other is just so hard. I love it all. I love it all so much, so much. But Freddy vs. Jason would be the correct answer. You also asked me my favorite remake of a horror movie. That's a good question. There's a lot of good horror remakes out there, like a lot. But for me personally, and I've said this before in a collab video from a long while ago that James and I did, back in the early stages of This Is My Design, my favorite horror remake is Dawn of the Dead. Dawn of the Dead came out, and I believe it was the early or mid-2000s, and I remember seeing it, and I'm like, yo, that was an awesome movie. Bought it on DVD. Still loved it. To this day, still love it. Dawn of the Dead was awesome. I mean, you take a classic zombie movie from the godfather of zombies himself, and you remake it all these years later, updated, more modern, and it's like, can you really pull that off? But they did pull it off. You love the characters, you love the story, I love the pacing of it, just everything about it. It's such a great movie. It's a little 2000s, like with the soundtrack and stuff, you know, Down with the Sickness and stuff. It is a 2000s movie, and you can kind of feel it. You can feel that a little bit when you watch it back, but it's still a great movie. Great opening, great ending, great scenes, great suspense. I just love the movie. Great redemption and character arcs, and they made you fall in love with a character. I believe his name was Andy at the gun shop, if memory serves me right, you fell in love with a character that had no dialogue, that just held up a dry erase board throughout the whole movie, and you ended up falling in love with the character and never actually got to technically meet the character. That's pretty goddamn good writing. So definitely Dawn of the Dead is my favorite horror remake. Thank you, man, for the questions. I really appreciate it. And of course, I want to say thank you so very much for watching. I appreciate each and every one of you, and a huge shout out and thank you to all of you that commented on the video but never left a question, wishing me a speedy recovery and congratulating me on 700. I don't want to start naming people because I know I will forget someone, but much love to each and every one of you. You know who you are. Again, thank you all so very much. You can follow me on Instagram right there. Also, if you want to join the Facebook group to talk about some really cool horror goodness in a private group, we'll keep it that way to keep it safe and keep all the bullies and assholes out of there. You can go to Facebook and type in, "This is our design HC." My wife or myself will accept you right away, and you can start talking some of that bloody good shit. So, with all that being said, thank you all again so very much. Here's to 700, and you know what? We're only going to the top from here. I promise you, consistency is not going to be an issue here soon. I have some amazing things planned for all of you. I'm talking blockbuster giveaways. I'm talking brand new videos. I'm talking all new collabs. I promise you it's coming soon. Thank you. I love you all. Again, my name is Mike, and this is my design.